What is going on, everyone, and welcome to Around the Metaverse, our weekly show where we bring together some of the best content creators from the blockchain gaming and blockchain and NFT gaming community, talk about all the recent news, and give you guys everything you need to know to stay up to date. My name's Adom, and I'll be your host today. But more importantly, we got our great group of guests back today. First and foremost, we got CryptoStache here. How's it going, man?
Doing it, ready for the Metaverse. Always so much big things. So it's all the big things. I'm ready for all of them.
All the things, baby, all the things. Today we got a couple new people on the show as well, and a returning face. So we have two parts of NFT Gamer TV here today. One returning face, Sam. How's it going, my friend? Thanks for coming back.
Hey, yeah, thanks for having me back.
Of course, man. And then we also have BGBadger, another part of NFT Gamer TV, a variety streaming, two variety streamers for blockchain games and NFTs. Badger, how's it going? Happy to have you.
Excellent. Very excited to be here, and shout out to all the NFT fans out there.
Oh, yeah.
That beach is looking nice, too, man. He's like, I'm just chilling on the beach on this.
That's Miami, baby.
Yeah, where's the pina colada, man? You need a drink in your hand, it
tropical
looks like.
Drink.
There
it is! Not tropical, but that's perfect.
And last but certainly not least, we got NFTYQ, or Q, founder of LADZ and NFT Live, another variety streamer covering all things NFT gaming and blockchain. Happy to have you on the show here, man, and welcome.
Alex, thank you so much for the invite, man. Listen, my goal in life right now is to get on that Around the Metaverse thumbnail. I see Kagi up there. I see Zul'jin. I need to be on this stash.
You know what's funny? I hate to disappoint you, but we're actually removing everybody from the thumbnails.
Ow, the dream.
Yeah, we're going to be bringing on all sorts of new faces, man.
Yeah, exactly. So we started off this show. If you guys know, you've been watching Around the Metaverse for a little while here. You know that we started off with Zul'jin, Kagi, and Jake from On-Chain Gaming as the original kind of four here, and myself. But we really wanted to bring more variety and get more people who are in the NFT gaming space as it expands exposure. Get them on here, see their great opinions on the Metaverse. And so I just have some we got some old stuff up, man, and so thanks for the reminder.
Got you.
Yeah, so if you guys out there support in the NFT community, and you guys support bringing on new faces and kind of bringing everyone up together, go ahead and smash that like button and hit subscribe, because we're always going to be bringing you new content, new faces, and everything you need to know to stay up to date with this crazy thing we call blockchain and NFTs. So let's jump into it. We got a great show for you guys today. We're going to be talking about Gala Games mooning, doing something like 300% the past 7 days, something crazy like that. A little piece about centralized hardware, and if we're ever going to be able to see a decentralized metaverse. And then finally, a little piece on how to stay safe out there. So we've seen some hacks, some scams even in the NFT space. They're kind of running rampant across all crypto, but it seems like we're under attack, especially these days. And I'm going to show you guys, we're all going to show you guys how to stay safe out there. So let's jump right into it. Gala Games, man, I don't know if you guys have been kind of keeping up to date on them, but their token has absolutely ripped the past the week, going up about 300%. And I think it has something to do with their Vox drop coming up with Miranda's Voxes. So their last Vox drop went off kind of without a hit, or not without a hitch. There was a little bit of trouble that happened. And I think they're on OpenSea. The floor for that is about 1 ETH. So you have to buy these in Gala, and that might be why some of the demand is going. But I want to see your guys' opinion on Gala Games in general and this upcoming drop, and the token itself. Stache, do you think Gala Games is overvalued right now? Do you think it's a bad time to get in for someone who maybe doesn't have exposure to it?
Well, those are actually two different questions. Is it overvalued? No, it was already incredibly undervalued as a token. Is it a good time to get in it? Probably not. I mean, just, we're at the top of a bull run, or maybe we're at another leg here. I think we're going to see a bull run kind of going until next year in March. I always could be wrong, but I do feel like this is going to be a little bit of a longer bull run. So there could be more action here on Gala, but I think that personally, if it's if you think well, what's a good entry for this? Is it right after the token has 3 or 4x'd? Probably not. You know what I'm saying? Now, it doesn't say that there may be some more room here for growth, which like I said, I think it's a very undervalued token for what they're providing in the ecosystem, for how well they've structured their company and how many games that they're already, you know, really pushing with Townstar. Spider Tank's getting ready to do like a full release, which I love that game. I can't wait to have it out and play it. And then other things like Echoes of Empires that are coming soon, and then obviously Mirandus, which is one of the more long tail projects they have. But I think incredibly undervalued, yes. Good time to get in, maybe not the best time to get in. You know, if you're looking if you're looking for long term, maybe it is, you know, because like you said, there's some things that happen with Gala. One, the reason it's pumping is because of Coinbase listing. They got listed on Coinbase. That was huge, and that put the price from, you know, 11 cents where it had already, like, you know, 3 or 4x, now another 3x or something on that price. And then they've switched things like, well, now you can only get a Gala node with Gala tokens before you could buy it in Ethereum. Missed that damn boat. I've said that a million times on this channel. Like, I'm so pissed I didn't get my Gala node earlier this year when I was talking about them, and they were super dirt cheap, and I'm just like, duh. But you know, hey, it's one of those things. You know, you can't get everything, can't chase every tail, and a little sad about that. But yeah, a lot of big news coming from Gala.
If we could take all the advice we give you guys, we wouldn't even need this show anymore. No, but so I don't know, man. I think Gala's doing a great job. I'm curious to know your thoughts too about Miranda specifically, because it's kind of like one of their bigger selling points, and something that we've kind of not seen as much of in terms of, like, you know, for example, Spider Tanks. We've already had people playing it. We've seen a lot of gameplay out of that. Sam, I want to ask you, man, do you think Mirandus is going to live up to what they're preaching? Do you think it might be a leading metaverse and blockchain game when it finally comes out?
I think it definitely has potential to be. I think my biggest worry with Mirandus, which I do think the pre-sale kind of solved this issue, because I would be shocked to see people who spend that much money on an NFT for a game not then play the game. But like, one of the, I guess, worries to me about Mirandus is it launching and then most people going into an empty game. But I don't know. I think that would be the one issue, and I don't really see that happening. So I think it definitely has room to become what they want it to be.
So let me ask you this then. Like, for example, we have the Sandbox Alpha launching pretty soon. Do you think that, like, say maybe the Sandbox launches before Mirandus even gets it like going at all, and they have tons of games within their metaverse that are almost very similar to Mirandus? Do you think that might kind of take some market share away from what they're doing?
Yeah, it definitely could, and it could result in what I'm thinking about is people are too distracted by so many games to play.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. We'll see what kind of happens. Badger, I'm curious to hear your thoughts. How do you think Mirandus is going to compare to the Sandbox, for example, when it comes out?
Well, I mean, we also have to consider the same case in somebody like Roblox and where they're going with the space. And so there's a lot of metaverses that are creating. Not all of them officially are dealing with NFTs or crypto, but they've all been designed in such a way. And I think until we actually have gameplay and what that's going to result in as far as how the players get engaged, and if there's any rewarding systems, it's going to greatly depend on how the game performs. And to your point, if Sandbox comes out ahead before them, which they've already launched, which they also had a boost because of that, in addition to all the other developments in the metaverse and the bigger names getting into the space, giving more confirmation to the space and more adoption of the space and where the industry is going. With that, it's just going to be one, whoever gets there first is going to support them greatly. So if Sandbox gets there before that, they're going to have the advantage. And two, once there's so many, to Shanika's point, is that we're going to have to figure out where we're going to spend our time and what we want to commit to. And from my experience getting into the space, when we get into a project, we kind of want to stick out with that project. We don't want to spread ourselves thin, both in time and resources, to join yet another one. And so for all of those reasons, it becomes almost a race before we can even start comparing them if they offer the same aspects.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I couldn't agree more, but I also have a counterpoint to that, man, and another possibility that I want to ask Q about. So, like, do you think that we could even see the possibility happening where, like, Mirandus at Gala Games and the Sandbox Animoca Brands somehow can come up with some kind of joint partnership, or Do you see Mirandus ever maybe being incorporated into the sandbox or vice versa, something like that?
I love interoperability plays. I do. And I think Animoca Brands, I love that team over there. They certainly have enough money to acquire different projects. Something like that could happen. I think honestly, man, I think that the projects will grow independently of each other. And I'm a big fan of like the I guess like larger pie theory, right? Like we're at such a small point when it comes to amount of people playing these games right now. And you look at a game like Roblox, which was just mentioned. I mean, we're at fractions of what they have. So I think, I mean, we're all in it together when it comes to like growing this space. And I think even if you have a little bit of competition in the short term, long term, like Stache was saying, like we have so much time to grow and all of these projects to grow independently and do just fine.
Yeah, man. And it's funny that you bring up Roblox, because that's kind of a good sort of segue into the next thing we're going to be talking about here, which is centralized metaverses and a bit about kind of what Meta is doing. But first, I want to touch on this Roblox part. I saw, if you guys didn't, that they just kind of announced that big Nike sort of world within Roblox, which is super cool and everything, but no mention of NFTs, right? Or blockchain.
They're not going to do it. They're not going to do it. You know, like, you know, and that's kind of a funny thing too that you think about, right? When we think about metaverses, all of us here, we all just kind of automatically assume it's crypto based, it's NFT based, it's blockchain enabled. But you know, Badger's right, man. You know, metaverses, for lack of a better, have been around for a long time. It's just that, you know, what we do with blockchain and the technology behind it enables another layer that was really kind of missing from these metaverses, right? And so I think that, you know, something like Roblox, they're not going to go away, just like Minecraft hasn't gone away. You know what I'm saying? It's not like, oh man, Roblox is big and it's replaced Minecraft completely. It hasn't, you know, but there's tons of kids playing it, and it's a huge metaverse where they go and they hang out and they do things and they spend tons of their time. Now, you know, will it go away when the sandbox blows up or when Gala Games? Like, no, of course not. You know, there's so many millions of gamers out there. They're always going to find kind of what's, you know, works best for them. And when it comes to something like Roblox versus Sandbox, I think that, you know, there's Sandbox is much more forward thinking. And once again, I think Roblox is just one of those things where I don't think that they're going to get on board quick enough to where, you know, they can overcome and say, we're the best blockchain enabled, you know, platform that it can allow you to trade and have currency and whatnot. Like, but they're not going away.
Yeah, so even when that happens, right, or even when sort of the competition that we bring with decentralized platforms kind of catches up with, say, a game like Roblox, who's to say that, and this is getting into our next topic here, that sort of the hardware that gives us access to this metaverse, or at least the metaverses that we envision, right, that people talk about, this Ready Player One sort of fully immersive metaverse, we're going to need a way to connect to that. And all the technology that enables us to connect to that still comes from a centralized source, right? So Facebook recently announced or did a press release about a haptic feedback glove that they make, where essentially it enables you to feel things in the metaverse by giving sort of pressure feedback through the gloves, which brings us kind of a step closer to this immersive metaverse. But it's coming from Meta. Badger, I'm curious, man. Are you gonna want to even put that on? Right? Mark Zuckerberg touched it. Would you want it?
Is it wrong to say no just for that reason?
But only if he physically himself touched it.
Yeah.
No, I really think they're rushing with that haptic feedback glove. From what I read, is that it wasn't so great, and yeah, sure, it provides some sensitivity, but it's, I think, a little bit ahead of its time. And I think because they didn't necessarily get the feedback they were looking for from the embracement of the community when they changed their name for various reasons, is why they have to come rushing with something new and advanced compared to everyone else. There's already haptic feedback products in the market. You know, there's vests, there's belts that amplify sound, that add to the sensibility of the body, and so I think the technology is available. It's just a matter of who's leading the marketplace, and where Meta and Facebook are positioned well is that they own probably majority of the VR studios in the country, and so that's, you know, that was probably a strategic approach on their behalf. And so now it's going to take a lot more resources for people to enter the space. But with the metaverse development and all the other major companies entering the space, people like Epic Games that are spending and committing billions of dollars to the industry, it's only a matter of time before other technology and competitors come out that we haven't even yet heard of.
Yeah.
And I'm curious, man, but like for me, it's kind of tough to see a world, even though I hope it isn't this way, where like the shareholders of Epic Games allow certain things to happen, right? Like, are we ever going to get to a point where we're going to have the ability to connect to this thing in a way that isn't sort of gatekept by centralized parties? I hope so, man. Sam, I want to know your thoughts.
I mean, that's part of the reason why, and I think I mentioned this on the last one, like I'd love to see something like, say, Gala, for an example, where they have their entire, not just one metaverse, but like a network of metaverses, essentially, like build their own gaming device that allows every end of the interaction to be decentralized. Although,
Yeah,
I mean, you'll have to find like a centralized developer for everything. Like it's just tough to actually make anything fully, especially when you need something physical to be able to connect to it, fully decentralized.
Well, I know Atari is kind of somewhat in that realm of things with Stache. What is the console they're building called again?
Oh, it's the VCS. They've already launched it. I have a VCS.
And is it?
They're ahead of their time, man. It's crazy. Like, it got no press. It got no attention. It's literally a blockchain-enabled hybrid console computer that, you know, works like a console but is upgradable like a PC, and it's blockchain enabled, man. It's crazy, and like they were just ahead of their time with that and launched it. But you'll be able to play the sandbox on it.
Word. So yeah, if you're looking for a good or a better alternative in terms of hardware, check out the Atari VCS. Q man, what about you? Do you think that like maybe we see Zuckerberg actually make the right decision? Do you think Meta will ever incorporate a blockchain?
Zuckerberg has, it's been a while since he's made the right decision, so I'm definitely not going to rely on that. I'm not holding my breath. Dude, maybe I'm in the minority here, but I think, you know, centralized people making the actual hardware is probably, like, in the short term going to lead to more adoption of what we're trying to do here in the right way. Hopefully they don't have it like as a completely closed system that can be, you know, taken over, or, you know, the software can be kind of like updated to where you can't access, and all these security issues that you're talking about. But I mean, it's tough to see an indie game try to make the same hardware with, like, you know, not even as much money as these bigger studios that can just pump out hardware like crazy, man.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. We'll see where we go with that. I could see a world where maybe we have sort of the centralized metaverses running alongside the decentralized ones. And I mean, centralization is kind of, it's not black and white, right? It's kind of what's the word I'm looking for? It's shades of gray.
Yeah.
And, you know, I hope we'll land somewhere in the middle going forward into the future. But see, like, there are some benefits, I think, to centralization, which is kind of a good segue maybe into one of our final topics here. I think centralized parties actually have a place to play in kind of protecting, or at least the good parts of centralization have a part to play in protecting a lot of some of the newer people that come to the space. Because in a decentralized world, there's not really as much support for people, new users entering the space, and it might be a little bit harder for them or have a steeper learning curve in terms of getting involved. And we see a lot of this happening where, especially in the NFT space, people are getting scammed. New people coming into the industry don't really know what to do. And when there's little or no support at all coming from a project, it's almost like they're lost in the water, and they're drowning and they don't have any help. Well, hey man, you got to know your risks when you're investing, and a lot of people don't do the due diligence that's really required. And sometimes when there's a central sort of entity to help them along that path, so long as their intentions are good in the first place, then that helps a lot, I think, starting off.
Most people want that. Most people want that. Like, to be honest, like, we're in the minority. That we can, you know, go through the hoops to be in a system that we can control. Most people don't want that, man. Most people just want it to be easy.
I mean, one thing that I know, at least talking with a lot of projects and getting ready for sort of the next wave of mass adoption, hopefully, and bringing people into this space, is like people want to be able to just sign in, have an email and a password, and not a big complicated seed phrase, not something that like they could maybe easily be tricked into giving someone else, right? Like I know we were just talking about, I think on the last stream, NFT NYC. People have no idea what they have. They just have a Bored Ape, and they literally have no real idea like what's in their wallet or how it's stored, and no real concept of like what a hardware wallet is. So this next segment, man, we're going to be talking about metaverse security, and kind of talking about a recent debacle that happened in the Phantom Galaxies Discord. About $1 million was siphoned off from Phantom Galaxy supporters. Their Discord was hacked, and sort of compromised mods led people to a website that drained users' wallets. And that's happening more and more frequently, we're seeing in this space. And I want to get your guys' thoughts on ways to protect new users getting into this space. So Stache, man, what are some ways people can protect themselves from scams in the metaverse?
I mean, there's really no, I mean, I want to say like there's some sort of foolproof method. Like, hey guys, just follow this and you'll never be scammed. But the problem with that, man, is it's just like hacking, right? People are like, big companies employ, anti-hacking teams, a whole internet cybersecurity teams to try and prevent somebody from getting access to their servers, downloading data, whatever it may be, right? But the problem is that there's always someone on the attack and you're always on the defense. The attackers are always going to find some way, some new way. Like you close a hole, they're going to find another one. There's no foolproof anything out there. And so it makes it hard to say, here is what you need to do to be safe in the metaverse. Here's what, the couple steps you're going to take. I mean, I would say some obvious ones is, always look at links that you're clicking on and make sure you're verifying. Don't get too excited. A lot of people, what will happen is, especially in like Discord, they get excited when like they think an admin messaged them or they won some sort of giveaway. If it's too good to be true, then it probably is. If you put a complaint in a Discord thinking admin's going to get back to you within seconds and then you get a response from them in seconds, most likely scam. Like there's a lot of things to look out for, and these things keep evolving and changing over time. I've seen so many different phishing scams and things where like what we saw with Phantom Galaxies, their Discord getting compromised because there wasn't good enough security on it, which they Discord has some pretty decent security protocols, but they probably weren't in place. And then lots of people get scammed out of it, and that's that could kill a project. So being like tips for doing this, like a lot of times it just comes down to experience. You're getting into a new space that you're not very sure about. You may get scammed once, but like that should hopefully be a learning experience. Nobody wants it to happen, but yeah, I think some of the biggest things is just take your time. I think what happens a lot of times when people get scammed is that they weren't paying attention and they weren't taking their time when it was involving something that is going to, be a money transaction or a possible money transaction, right? So you click that link all quick in an email saying that you won or that, whatever it may be, and then, they drain your account, right? That's what happened here with Phantom Galaxies is that people were like super excited. Oh my gosh, I'm getting something for free. I got to click on it now. Go. And they weren't taking it slow enough. And if you may have realized like, hey, this doesn't seem right. This seems fake. This couldn't be true, and like, because they're taking you to a different website, that's our huge red flag. Like the URLs are not the same, but when you're doing things a little too fast, it could definitely be a detriment. So my biggest advice would be just kind of take things a little bit slower when it comes to crypto. I know people don't want to hear that because they want things to be fast, but it still is. But just make sure you're watching and paying attention to these things because the scammers just get better and more clever every damn day.
And man, when the FOMO kicks in, I think we've all had that the almost getting scammed, or if we've been scammed feeling when the FOMO kicks in and you're like, oh God, like I got to get that right now. Click. Oh shit, what just happened?
Yeah. And then like things like don't give away, like when you get in a chat of something you think that it is admin, like they're not going to ask you for your private keys or to screen share to see something like, your back end of things. Like that's another prop. The one that's happening right now is they get people to screen share and like show them other things like access keys, even if they're not private keys. And then boom, your stuff is gone probably while you're on the damn screen share with them. So
they're laughing all the way to the bank with you on the other end.
Yeah.
But yeah, so wait, let me ask you, Badger, what would be like some of your tips for a new user to look out for scams and protect themselves against losing their funds or their NFTs?
Absolutely. We're in a space that is new to everybody, and everybody's learning it for the first time. However, a lot of these scams have been around since before the internet even existed. They've just evolved as to how they're being implemented, but their scamming is the same way.
Wait. The Nigerian prince that just reached out to me last week with my millions of lost dollars, that's a scam? No.
That's not a scam.
I support 15 Nigerian princes, and it's been working out great for me. So
that's right on point. That was probably one of the first emails that started going around back in the 90s when the internet and email became an everyday thing. But to the same point is we have to be extremely cautious with what we do and make sure that the source we're getting our information from is reliable. We can't jump on links that somebody posted, even if that somebody is an admin. I'm fishy with clicking on admin posts, because you never know when somebody changed a character in their name and fooled you to think that that's an admin, or to your point, Alex, is that we FOMO into it. We don't think about it. We click on the links. There's a lot of our blockchains that allow claiming a free or a promo NFT with a link became very popular, and people took advantage of that. And they just thought, oh, anyone's going to click on a link when I just posted, for them to just click on it and receive a prize. And that's how a lot of people get. And one of the latest scams going on right now, especially if you're spending a lot of time on ETH, is people are dropping NFTs into your ETH wallet.
Yep.
It's a matter of you clicking on that NFT that it exposes your information, and you can suffer losses. So you can't even click within your own wallet to protect yourself on something that you don't know. So if you see something you don't know, don't necessarily click on it unless you're sure that it's safe to click. Please do your research. But scammers have always been around. They're always going to be around, and they're always going to try to use the latest technology, and they keep innovating just like we do in our space, using it for advantages that we want to. And we often talk about how we hate bots, but at the same time, we love bots because we use bots every day to help us in a way that is making their help efficient to us. At the same time, others are using them maliciously for the same reason. So it's going to be a forever fighting battle. Just know where the information is coming from, and don't rush over excitement. People are gonna try to get your emotions and run with them. I've been in the space, and I've been trying to be cautious, and I'm a victim. I've been scammed several times by really good artists.
It happens, man. And dude, what's even funnier is, like, it's funny to kind of be on this side of the space too, because I'll have like scammers hit me up, the fake accounts that look like real people. They'll hit me up, and I'll be like, dude, I literally know this person. Like, get out of here. Like, what? Like, reported. Drop the ban hammer. Like, rally the troops.
Well, and real quick on the same token, it's not just the retail users on the front end. It's us that are on the back end developing projects and trying to be honest and put a product out there in a good way that people try to take advantage of us. So they're taking advantage of both the front end and the back end.
Mm-hmm. And that's a good point too. And Sam, I'm curious to get your thoughts from the other end. Like, what do you think Metaverse projects or any blockchain project can do on their end to kind of make their products more user friendly and safe for the people participating in them?
Probably the best way is just make sure the information is all open and out there. Because I feel like a lot of the scams, like that sort of FOMO kicks in because you don't know what's happening with that project, especially with Phantom Galaxies. Like, what's being known, what their launch plan was. So a random mint wasn't entirely out of the question. Like, I think it's kind of on projects to specify what to look out for, so that. And I mean, that's also a risk, because then the scammer could take that information and make an even better version of what happened on Phantom Galaxies, like basically release a fake mint exactly how they were going to do the real one. Well, I kind of just broke my own answer to the question.
It's a catch-22, man. There's no right answer, it seems like. But yeah, Q, what's your opinion? Do you think that like projects could be doing something to help people?
Yeah, I think I liked what Badger was saying about like how the project should go about it, right? So one direct thing they could do is not make it that FOMO event, right? Where it's like to the second, I need to be doing this. They could release these mints over the course of 24 hours, make sure everyone knows that this is happening so everyone's not FOMOing in. But for the most part, it's just communication. And like if there's no communication happening and you're under attack, that's like a classic Art of War status. Like you're going to get wrecked. If you're not communicating defensively together, you're going to get wrecked. And the projects need to be communicating with like down to the second their community there, because if not, this happens.
It's over. It's game over. And yeah, man, I know, I don't know if you guys know this, but I think Animoca Brands is actually stepping in with Phantom Galaxies and is doing something to refund many of the people who had their funds stolen from them.
I didn't see that. Cool.
So which kind of goes back to what we were talking about, and like how I'm saying that some centralization isn't necessarily a bad thing, because without Animoca Brands saying that, right, everyone would be SOL. So like, what do you guys, Stache, what do you think about that, man? Do you think that Animoca Brands is doing the right thing with that?
Yeah, I mean, well, I guess I just kind of go back to the centralization thing and where it kind of loops back in with like the hardware stuff too. As much as I want to see a decentralized world, like it's not possible for everything to be 100% decentralized. We're going to need to have centralized authorities to be able to do some of these things, corporations like that. Not everything can be a DAO, and everything's going to be able to work well in that manner. As much as I'd like to see that be the case, it's not realistically probably possible. So I mean, so really, there's still some issues of trust out there. There's still things you got to kind of put your faith into. But in the most part, what I'd say is that with these centralized entities, the more that you see them do these kind of, I would say, not always philanthropic, but really good focused decisions, the more that they are going to gain that trust in the mind's eye. And companies like Facebook / Meta, they've violated that time and time and time again. And so but with Animoca Brands, you start building something up like that over time. You can have that kind of trust until you do something to break it, man. And then it's like, well, hey, even though you have millions and millions of users, we still may not trust you, even though we're using your product. I mean, I use products all the time. I don't inherently trust that company. I give up and I say, hey, I'm using a product. I know what I got myself into. You're stealing all of my data. You're selling it. I get that. We know this is the relationship we have, and so I kind of throw my hands out, and like that sucks, but sometimes you're gonna have to do it. Well, we don't want to have to do that, but if it comes down to it, it's like, well, Facebook Meta's gloves are the top of the line gloves that you're going to need to access this amazing decentralized metaverse here in the future. Well, then I'm probably going to end up using those gloves if there's not alternatives that are on par or whatever. I don't necessarily want to. It's like going to Walmart when you really don't want to. When I really want to be at Target, you know what I'm saying? I don't know if you guys I'm like, yeah, so it's that kind of thing. It's like, okay, well, if I have to, I guess I'll go. But I think Animoca has done a good job of like laying the foundation of being a good, trustworthy company, and I think that's a great move because hey, that could be saving their investment when you think about how much they're going to reimburse, or if they're going to be doing that plan. How much does that save their massive investment that they're making with Phantom Galaxies and possible future revenues with a game that is like looking really sharp? So I think that it's definitely the right move.
And yeah, who knows? I mean, they give that money back, and it some of it's probably going to come right back to them.
Yeah, exactly right. So they're like, oh my god, I love Phantom Galaxies. I love Animoca. They gave me my money. I got scammed. These guys are amazing. But and then more money comes out of it, like more than what they were going to spend. So
What about you, Sam? Do you think that this is the right move on their part? And do you think that they're taking all the right steps to be that leading studio?
Well, so first I should probably start with saying I was one of the people that clicked that link.
Ouch.
Okay.
So tell us your experience and what did they get from you and how did that go?
And this is something that I guess I should have mentioned for how to like sort of stop yourself if it's a scam. And I knew I should have done this because it wasn't my first time getting scammed. But anyway, I go to mint, basic mint process. But if you look at the smart contract, it says you're just transferring ETH. You're not actually minting. And if you go look at the wallet and the transactions that are happening, people are just dumping ETH and they're not actually minting the NFT. which, yeah, I mean, I like that classic FOMO hit in. I was like, I don't want to miss this. I just want to send it in now and then ask questions later. And, you know, thinking it was a brand like Animoca, I didn't think, I would think a brand like that would have all of the security measures in place, like 2FA on every single account that has admin access in their Discord.
Yeah.
Something to have prevented something like that from ever happening. Yeah, there's sort of that trust that brought me into a pitfall. But definitely, I think if I had just looked at the account that I was, I guess, minting from, or was basically running the entire site through, I would have seen pretty quick that it was not something I should be putting ETH into.
Yeah, man, I feel like that sucks, and I hope that you're maybe one of the people who gets reimbursed by Animoca. So
Yeah, 100%.
you know, Animoca, hook our dude up. But
They give us NFTs, if I'm being honest, because I'm gonna give them the money right back.
Right, like you said, it's the same thing. Like, could just give me the NFTs that I was gonna get.
Well, and not to make light of the situation, but like, what's the worst part about getting scammed on Ethereum? Paying a gas fee, right?
Paying a gas fee, like,
yeah, to get scammed
twice.
Or coming on around the metaverse and talking about it. It could be that.
True.
I mean, okay,
True.
so hey, Sam,
right.
I gotta give you props, man, because it's a hard thing to talk about, dude. I you know, but I think that it's an important thing to talk about. You know, being visible and content creators, I think it's incredibly. So I applaud your bravery, sir, in sharing your story with us, because people need to hear about this, man. They need to know that it's not just, you know, the average person out there. We can fall for it too. People who have been in crypto for years can fall for it and get scammed as well, man. So thank you so much for sharing that story, man.
Well, all right. So, I mean, I don't know if you guys are comfortable, but the last question I potentially had for you was, have you ever been scammed? And if yes, how? So it's kind of funny that Sam went into that.
Lightning round.
Do you guys have any stories that you're willing to share with the audience out there, man?
Oh, yeah.
I have too many.
Q has one. Go ahead, Q.
I actually got scammed from like a personal DM, which is like the easiest thing not to get scammed by. I didn't end up sending, but I was one step from sending. Like I was right about to send this, and it was actually from Ronan the Collector. He didn't scam me. Let me put that out there. So Ronan did not scam me. But he reached out and was like, hey man, are you busy? And he was talking like Ronan. So this guy must have put in some work, because he was talking about it like in his mannerisms. And it got so far down the list of like, hey, I need you to send me, you know, half an ETH or an ETH, and I just can't get to my computer, yada, 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 some weird stuff. But you get caught up in the moment. You want to trust your friend. That's another thing that they play on. And I looked, you know, finally right before I hit send, and was like, this is very weird. And I looked at, and we had no chat history before the guy had reached out, which is like a clear, obviously, that would
red flag.
Yeah, red flag. And then I said, oh, screw this guy. So
yeah, that moment hits like right before, and you're like fight or flight right before you hit the button. It's like, something's not right here. Maybe wait a minute.
Yeah, see, that's a good thing. You slowed down and like, okay, wait, hold on. Don't get lost in the moment. Slow down, make sure, check all the things, go through a process every time when you're going to be transferring funds. It can be hard when that FOMO hits, or you're trying to get a quick mint or something, but you know, I think that's important. Yeah.
We're just so scarred, Stache. We've been in the space so long. It's just like,
it's battle-hardened veterans. Battle-hardened veterans. Ain't nothing that could touch them.
There's nothing worse than that moment when you realize you just got taken and you freak out and you try to execute as fast as possible anything that you can potentially do. So I once clicked on one of those links that was not a real link, and I went to claim it because I was trying to rush, because we're used to people grabbing links, and in the moment of approving, I didn't necessarily stop, and as I'm approving, I realized, oh no, I just approved and this link is wrong on one of the blockchains that we all frequent often with those links. And I immediately freaked out and started changing all my passwords and hoping that it didn't go past that. And I never experienced anything beyond that moment from there, but it was scary. Well, I'll tell you what, but I've had people come to me as being a mod in the server. I've had people come to me and say that someone reached out to them and said that they needed help with promoting a project, and because they were an NFT owner of the project, they were going to engage with them and on behalf of the project and wanted to do a little bit of a promo as to a holder, and oh, by the way, and just give us access here and click on this link. And next thing I know is this guy's now freaking out because they're not sure. And they reached out, they did right. Although they were a little late because they had already taken those steps, they reached out immediately to the mod in the Discord server, say, hey, this is what happened to me. How can you help me? And the immediate advice was immediately transfer your funds from that wallet. Unfortunately, it was an Ethereum wallet, so it cost a bunch of gas, but there were assets to be saved, and the person executed, paid probably a couple $1,000s at the moment in gas to move everything, but saved and prevented from having anything removed. And better have a little extra expense and take the precaution immediately as opposed to not and wonder what happened later.
Yeah, and that I'm actually curious too, because there are certain like safeguards, decentralized ones that I'm like thinking of for traditional crypto, like Bridge Mutual or other sort of insurance protocols for like when a DeFi protocol gets hacked. What if we see in the future like I don't know, maybe a DAO where you have some sort of NFT insurance that like where maybe certain users get hacked and they could vote on giving funds back. That might be interesting.
Yeah,
but
that's a good point, man. There's a product that we just covered recently that kind of does that. They have a fund that it's kind of not structured in that exact same way, but like if they get margin called, if they're part of this NFT collection, then they can all vote together and reimburse that person's fund if something happens. And I think that's it's an interesting thing to see, kind of like this decentralized notion of insurance for everyone who holds maybe a certain NFT for a certain collection or whatever it may be. And I think that you know, those are smart moves, you know, and that's something I could see projects putting in the roadmap. You know, when the project sells out, then, you know, 1% of all royalties goes into a fund to, you know, mitigate any type, you know, and because we've seen that from exchanges and other things. Yeah, like, you know, Binance is always like, your funds are SAFU because they have their fund and things like that. And that has something that has become popular over the last few years in crypto. And I think we could see it translated to NFTs in the metaverse too. It'd be interesting to see how it goes.
And yeah,
you're giving a lot of people ideas out there. Your viewers are taking notes right now.
Yeah. Good, man. We drop the alpha and crazy ideas here all the time, man.
Literally,
there's some good ideas that happen here.
Every company, just hire us. This is also a job board, so like anyone who wants us to come on their team, just let us know. We'll start advising for you, and we'll give you $1 million ideas every Monday. But actually, a couple last pieces of security that we didn't touch on too that I wanted to bring up for you guys watching who are maybe new. So like one thing too that you can do to kind of prevent some of this stuff from happening is anytime you go to a new mint or something like that, and it's a little harder to do this on Ethereum because of gas, of course, but on blockchains like Solana or Binance, where there's lower gas fees, just create a new wallet and send the funds over to the wallet that you were going to spend on the mint, and have nothing else but that in there. And it's essentially a burner wallet. Yeah. Where you're like, if something were to happen, you would only be losing the money that you were planning on spending anyway, and not your entire collection of NFTs.
Yeah, that's a great advice. Yeah, because I mean, it doesn't cost you guys anything to create a separate account. You can just keep doing it over and over and over again. Don't keep everything all in one account. Split it up. Have one for NFTs, one for this crypto, or one for, you know, a main trading account or whatever. That's a pretty good advice. Good one there. A-Down.
And then also, if you have stuff that you know you're diamond hands, right? If you're going to hodl for the rest of time, get a hardware wallet, man. Put that. You can store NFTs on some of the major hardware wallets, man. I mean, all of them, I think, if they're connected to the blockchain, right? But yeah, so do those things to protect yourself. Take some of the great advice we gave you. We're running out of time here. So I want to thank everyone for watching out there. Don't forget to smash that like button as we get off here. I want to thank all you guys for being on the stream today with me. The new faces, Badger and Q. Sam, thank you for returning also. And Stache, always here on Monday. You know, where else would you be, right? This has been Around the Metaverse, man. Thank you guys all again. Don't forget to go check out these guys. We have all their links in the description. They put out some great content. So, you know, if you want to stay informed and stay up to date, get the best alpha every day, look here and look to them, and you can't go wrong. So this has been Around the Metaverse, man. See you guys next Monday.
Peace.